Unsolved horror story. Shadows in glass. The city never really slept, but from Mira's 10th floor dorm window it sometimes pretended to. Neon signs blinked their last. Buses sighed at corners, and the steady hum of air conditioners dulled into something almost oceanic. It should have been peaceful. Yet lately, every time she looked at the reflection of the skyline on her window, the lights didn't match. Tonight, again, her reflection lagged behind her, half a heartbeat out of sync. She blinked hard, rubbed her eyes, and laughed it off. Exam stress. Too much caffeine. The standard prescriptions for urban hallucination. She was a third-year architecture student. Sleepless nights, impossible deadlines, and professors who seemed to feed on despair. Her final project, a model of non-parallel living spaces, had consumed every hour. She'd chosen the title for its geometric oddity, but lately she felt something else crawling through it. A phrase that hummed in her skull like static. Non-parallel. As if some spaces truly refused to align with reality. Her roommate, Hannah, was out for the weekend. The room felt wider than usual, its corners darker. Mira played low music and set about gluing the final walls of her model. The structure, a minimalist apartment block, had a deliberate flaw. The corridors subtly bent away from each other, never truly meeting. It was meant to symbolize isolation in urban life. At 2:14 a.m., her phone buzzed with a new message. Unknown number. Stop building. She frowned. Probably a prank. But the sender ID was empty. No digits, no source. When she tried to call back, her phone said, "Number not found." Her eyes flicked toward the model. For a moment she thought the tiny door she'd glued shut was slightly ajar. She leaned in. The air smelled faintly of burnt plastic. Then the lights blinked off. Her laptop screen stayed on, dimly reflecting her pale face. The music distorted into a single stretched note. Something shifted in the dark, like fabric dragging across the floor. Mira froze. A breath exhaled inches from her ear. She spun around, hands clutching the glue gun as a weapon. Nothing. But on the window, the reflection again, she saw herself not holding anything. Her mirrored self stood still, arms at her sides, eyes completely black. Then the power snapped back on. The reflection normalized. Her heart hammered so loud it hurt. Her phone buzzed once more. Unknown. You opened the door. She dropped the phone. It clattered to the tiles. Door? She glanced at the model again. The miniature door was indeed open now, the glue still tacky. And inside the doll-sized corridor, shadows seemed to shift, though there was no light source to make them. She whispered, "Hannah." But of course, Hannah wasn't here. A knock sounded, not from the main door, but from inside the model. 3 gentle taps, plastic echoing plastic. Mira screamed, swiped the model off her desk, and it shattered on the floor. The sound snapped her back. For long minutes she stood barefoot among splintered foam and cardboard, breathing hard, phone torch trembling in her hand. Nothing moved. No sound, except her ragged breath. By dawn, she'd convinced herself it was a waking nightmare, a byproduct of exhaustion. She cleaned the debris, tossed the broken pieces into a trash bag, and promised herself to get real sleep. At 8 a.m., she left for campus. On the way down the dorm elevator, a maintenance worker stepped in, gray uniform, expression vacant. He stared at the bag in her hand. "Construction waste?" he asked. She nodded, half smiling. He tilted his head. "You shouldn't throw that out. Once built, some doors stay open." The elevator dinged. He stepped out before her, vanishing down the corridor. When she looked again, the floor number showed -1. There was no basement level in her building. The doors closed, and when they opened again, she was on the ground floor, as if nothing had happened.